Welcome to episode 49 of Run It Straight, where we answer your questions about how to get better at rugby league. We don't sidestep the difficult topics, but rather give direct, straight up answers. In essence, we run it straight. All right, jumping into our first question. I'm 16 years old, 185 centimeters and 83 kilos. I play centres at the moment, but I'm not very quick. What is the best position? Or your best position? This is actually someone in the academy.
I see the name.
Yeah. So, for anyone else who's watching, we could say, taking at your word that you're not very quick, we actually know who this person is, and we know that the speed thing is an issue. The best position that I would suggest for you is probably as a second rower. Perhaps a different kind of a lock, but look, going through juniors, those two positions, they switch out a lot.
They do, they are very
Centre, second rower, centre, second rower.
Yeah.
It is very interchangeable, but as you get a little bit higher up, the demands of the centre, you do need to have really good footwork and you've got to have speed. And I know that here in the academy, when we do our grading days, when we do our Illinois test and when we do our 10 metre laser gate timed sprints, we can tell right off the bat whether someone has the kind of speed to play in that position or they don't. There's a few things, obviously. You can train speed, you can get a lot stronger, improve your mobility and drop your body fat. The only one of those four that's going to make a significant difference is going to be dropping the body fat. The others you get faster, but it's not going to make it significant and probably not significant enough to change positions. I would think. The old saying is, if you want to be fast, you've got to pick the right parents. But so if you want to progress, centres, I think we talked about something like this in the last episode. They're either very quick, great footwork and acceleration, bigger body type, Steve Crichton, we mentioned those. So you're either sort of the nippy, zippy one, or you're the big bullocking one. But at 185 centimeters and 83 kilos, I don't think you're either. If you were 185 and you were, 94 kilos, maybe you're that big frame. Story, it could be a different story. But you're not one of those bigger types. So I would be saying, planning to play on an edge, running good lines, maybe even being skillful enough with the ball to be able to play out the back to the fullback and whatnot. Second row, possibly lock. Again, that depends on your ball skill. What do you got to?
Well, I would say back row would be your position. And anyone in this situation, similar stats. And the same thing, we spoke about the centres a couple episodes ago, or maybe it might have been last episode. How there's different styles of a centre. Same thing with the back row. There are different styles of back rowers. You have a look at Sonny Bill Williams, who was very, very explosive, good hands, great footwork. But then you have, on the opposite side of that, someone like Boyd Cordner, who was that grunty, good line running, maybe not the best of footwork, but he would just do that job. He'd just hit the inside shoulder.
Angus Crichton's probably a bit like that.
Angus Crichton, same thing, just that grunty forward. It takes more hit-ups more than makes big plays, but it does the job really well.
And they need to have a good footy head on them.
Yes, very smart in footy IQ and footy awareness. I would say your best position would probably be back row. But again, speed's something you can train. You can get stronger, drop a little bit of body fat. You can get fast. You need to be sprinting a couple of times a week, like we said a couple of episodes ago as well. There's plenty of things you can do to get faster, but we would suggest second row is your position.
Nothing else to add. Next question. What training do I focus on to get back on track from an injury? Next time, please give us more info so we have more context.
What's the injury?
What's the injury? Generally speaking, you should be following the advice of your health professional. So typically that's your physio. They're usually going to have a return to training plan for you. That being said, remember, obviously first do no harm. So getting back into training, make sure that any activity, you got to avoid any activity that causes pain, first and foremost, right? If it hurts, your body's saying don't do it. Next, if you've had a layoff of any period of time and it's in season, then your focus has got to be on trying to get your match fitness back up as soon as possible. So con work, again, without knowing what the injury is, if it's upper or it's lower, you may have been able to do con, you may not have, you may have been able to do off feet, we don't know, but so conditioning work. But something that I wanted to say is, like, putting that aside, because this brings up something that happens a lot with the players, right, is, training, it's kind of like life in the sense that in life, there's nothing that's linear, right? There's never a straight line of continuous improvement, whether that's footy or that's some aspect of like your strength or your fitness or even your body fat level improvements. And you know, sometimes boys get frustrated when they might have made really good progress over 2, 3 or 4 months, and then they get sick or they get injured, or you know, maybe they do something stupid at school. This has happened a couple of times, and then dad pulls them out of the program for a month to teach them a lesson, because that's one of the only things that they value. So something happens and they stop making progress, you know, and maybe they lose some strength or they lose some muscle mass, or their skin folds go up or whatever it is. And that's like life, right?
Yep.
So that's a challenge with footy, and it's a challenge with life. You know, like Rocky says, it's not about how hard you can hit, but about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. It's about how much you can take and keep moving forward, and that's how winning is done. And with something like this, when you get an injury, when something pops up, you get injured or you get sick, or maybe you get suspended from playing, whatever it is, you can sit there and you can bitch and moan about it, or you can just say, you know what, this is just another thing I'm going to learn for, and it's just going to make me tougher, and it's going to make me harder, and I'm going to move forward from it. And unfortunately, that kind of resiliency is not really around a lot these days.
No.
But this is the whole point in sport. That's what it's meant to teach you, because you know what, there's going to be times when life hits you and it just keeps hitting you, and you just got to be ready to take it and then step forward. You could be 21 and then you lose your job, and then your dad has a car accident and he dies, and you've got to look after your mum and your younger sister and your younger brother, or whatever it is. Or maybe you're older and you've got your own kids, and you know, one of them's got their own issues, or whatever it happens to be. The whole point in these challenges that come up with footy are to help build the resilience that you want for the rest of your life. You know, you're going to pursue something, there's always going to be roadblocks that pop up, but it's the people who are able to push through and just deal with each problem, each challenge that's right in front of them as it is, deal with that and then move on. Take it one step at a time and move forward. So that's obviously a little bit of a rant of mine going off in a particular direction, but it's just something to keep in mind, because we do have, you know, one of the boys in the morning who, without giving away who it is to them, has a ponytail, and he definitely trains with a certain amount of intensity. He'll say it's a mullet, but it's not really.
It's not a mullet.
No, it's not a mullet. He got sick for like 3.5 weeks, flu and throwing up, and I don't know if COVID was in there or whatever it was, but he lost like 6 kilos that he'd spent ages building, and he came back in and definitely got down in the dumps a little bit. But you know, said the same thing to him, you know, it's not about how hard you can hit, but it's about how hard you can get hit. And he knuckled down and he put that weight back on and some, and he's killing it. He's having his best season by a mile. Playing up an age group, and he's just become a real beast. The weight's come back on and some. He's gotten stronger. He's probably not far off breaking some records on the board, and he's actually grading above his age. So that's the way to take it on. You just look at it as a challenge. It's like, all right, next.
Yeah, 100%.
Anything else you want to add in on such and such about their injury?
No, well, it's, again,
without detail.
Yeah, please send detail. But yeah, do what your physio suggests. You know, get some treatments, get some massages, soft tissue work, things like that.
Don't stop the rehab.
Yeah, don't stop it. You know, we see plenty of times boys get out of a cast, they go to the physio for a couple of weeks and they think they're fine because they're playing again. Doesn't work like that. You need to be on top of your stretching, on top of your mobility. For example, you know, ankle injuries are a big one. People in a moon boot or a cast or something like that for 4 to 6 weeks. They get out, they'll do some calf stretches and see a massage therapist maybe once or twice in that time afterwards, and then they think they're finished. It's not like that. The ankle will stiffen right back up. So
not how it works.
So make sure you stay on top of your mobility, stay on top of your stretching and recovery, get and see a physio regularly. It doesn't have to be as regular as what it was when you had the injury, but you know, once every couple of weeks, just to get a top up is always. And
do your rehab. Like there's this, you know, common in footy is shoulder injuries. And boys they'll come away from a physio and they'll do their rehab, like their rehab or their prehab stuff for 2, 3, 4 weeks. And once they've had a week or two and there's no pain, they've played a game, there's no pain, they just stop. And it's like, no, there's probably an inherent weakness there. You need to work, and you need to work on that thing permanently to get it nice and strong, to reduce significantly the chances of it re-injuring, reoccurring. So, you know, for us, you got a shoulder injury, it's going to be a permanent part of your workout. Whether it's if you've got an A1, an A2 exercise, and that A3 is those ancillaries that are working on the stabilizer on the shoulder, that's going to be there forever. That's how we prevent it as much as possible from reoccurring.
100%.
Okay, next question. Hey guys, I have a question. How do I improve my awareness throughout the game as a back rower? And what can I do to improve it as much as possible? Thanks. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing to improve your awareness is to, one, play football or play footy, and secondly, watch footy. Watch plenty of back rowers.
I like this. This is completely different to mine. This is good.
Yeah, so
go on.
Watch plenty of back rowers, see how they read the game, see how they play, see how they position themselves, and then compare that to your game. Are they doing something different to what you're doing? Are they doing something that you're not doing? Little things like that I've found, especially for my game as a front rower, helps build your game and add some tools to your toolbox. In terms of awareness, I find the biggest thing is actually playing the game. You're only going to get better if you're playing. You can do all the training in the world, but if you're not playing games consistently, we've only got a short season, so there's only so much games you can play in a year. But if you're not improving each game or striving to improve each game, you're probably not going to be getting the rewards and getting that awareness up.
You got to get reps in.
You do. Repetition is king.
I was going to say, number one, get fit. Even the player with the best footy IQ on the planet becomes stupid once he's fatigued.
Yep.
So you need to be fit enough to be able to think. And a lot of players, they don't think, they just react. So when you're fit enough that you can actually take in the situation that's around you, then you're going to be in a better position to do something. Now, know your role. So I would say within any team, you need to know what the coach wants you to be doing. Does he want you getting back? Because he said he's a second rower, right? Does he want you getting back and taking carries out of your red zone? Yep. Does he want you staying in your particular lane on your side of the field? He's giving you a space, sort of like a 25 or a 30 meter on the edge, and it's like that's where he wants you to stick and that's where he wants you to stay and wait for the ball to come to you. I don't know. You need to ask. You need to find out. How does he want you to defend? Know his expectations, what he wants you to do, when he wants you to do it, and how he wants you to do it. That'd be the first thing. Next, I would say know your teammates. So if you're playing on an edge, you're typically going to be outside either the half or the 5'8". You're going to be inside the centre. There could be a fullback who's swinging around the back, and then you've got the winger out on the outside. So you need to get comfortable with those players that are around you. You need to get comfortable with your half. Know how he likes to play. If he likes to throw short balls to you, and if he's going to run it at if it's going to be a B or a C defender, and he wants you jamming in, so he's going to try and pull him across a little bit to him, and then you shoot in, if that's the way he likes to play, or maybe he wants you running onto it and running an overs line on the outside. You've got to build a relationship with those guys that are around 100%. You. So you just get a feel, as he starts to drift in or drift out, where he wants you to be, and you can get focused on getting there, watching the defenders, and then turn your eyes back to receive the ball. Like I said, you also want to be sweet with the fullback, who's often swinging around as an extra ball player, and how he fits into the whole puzzle, whether he's just a ball runner or whether he's going to be there as a ball player. Next, I would say communicate. Being aware could probably be summed up by being able to communicate with who you need to. So if there's something going on, if you're defending and the opposition's there got an opportunity and it's your job to be able to shut it down, you need to be able to communicate to the guys around you, verbally, however else you're going to be communicating to them, but they need to know where you are, and you need, look, this is happening. They're running a they're running a block. I've got the lead runner. And you've got to tell him, you got that guy, right? You've got the guy with the headgear. He's going to run. And you're like, yeah. You've got to communicate. And then in attack, you might see something. You could see someone's injured, someone's tired. You might see that the defenders, they're short. It's like, we're going to run tight, but I want you to go out the back. And the fullback's like, yep, I'm going to get on his outside, pull that winger in, and then pop to ours. Makes sense?
Yep.
Communicate. Yeah, I would say get fit, know your role, know the guys around you, and then communicate. And then that was really, really good. It was a different insight, you said watch.
So watch and play.
Watch as much as you can, and then you need to get a whole ton of reps in. End of the episode.
Done. How good.
Cal.
Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Please send in questions if you have any with as much detail as you can. If you have any questions that you don't want answered on here, Joe will be answering them via Instagram on our DMs. And that's it, I believe.
Beautiful. We will see you in the next one.